In 1907, two young men from Budapest set out to seek their fortunes in America. Brothers Edmund and Ernest Horwath found work as a controller and an accountant in a restaurant in New York City. Just 3 years later, they started their own businesses in food cost accounting, and by 1915, they opened Horwath and Horwath. During World War I, the company was hired by the U.S. War Department to organize the kitchens and commissary of a New York State training camp for officers. Recognition grew for their work, and the Horwath brothers expanded into business management, hotel services, and more. New branches were opened in other major cities in the 1920s. While the company weathered a recession post-World War I and flourished in the 20s, Black Tuesday and the Depression deeply affected Horwath and Horwath as restaurants and hotels closed around the country. But the firm's business management acumen led to stabilization and continued growth in the years following World War II. New offices and mergers took place throughout North America, the Caribbean, and South America. Over the next few decades, the company established itself as one of the foremost accounting firms in the food service and lodging sectors. Through publications, speeches, and statistical studies, the Horwath and Horwath name began to travel overseas as an authoritative professional body that set high standards for uniform language and quality accounting practices. By 1960, Horwath and Horwath was well established in the hotel and tourism industry in America. Ivan Dinare, co-managing partner at the time, envisioned a more far-reaching global presence for Horwath and Horwath, with exclusive representation agreements.
The first feelers went out to Mexico, to Venezuela, to Switzerland, to Germany, to the UK, Argentina. And Ivan, who had this vision of building relationships with firms in those countries, where Horwath and Horwath could provide the know-how and then have those firms pick up the expertise and service Horwath's clients. And that was really the beginning of Horwath International.
On the firm's 50th anniversary in 1965, 25 partners representing 17 countries celebrated together. As the family of firms was established internationally, plans intensified in the United States to diversify beyond the hotel and leisure core. That led to a merger in 1967 with Leventhal, Kreckstein, Griffith & Company, a practice with broader business interests.
What I found very quickly working within Horwath was the fact that people really do care for each other. There's nothing better than having partners from different firms, from different parts of the world, working with each other, getting to know each other. And it's not just, 9 to 5. Many of these engagements, we worked literally around the clock. But we also had a lot of good times.
In the 1970s, the world struggled with inflation and recession. Horwath and Horwath International focused on cultivating the network to assure growth.
In the 70s or so, that's when we started to really making investments. For instance, we set up our first International Accounting and Auditing Committee. And I think that's when people realized that in order to develop, you need to invest.
Eli Gracia, who headed the Miami office, brought his know-how to the Latin America market and was key to the growth of cross-border business and training. He also nurtured new members, such as Dominican accounting expert and future regional leader Sotero Peralta. About the same time, Lord Desmond Hirschfield hosted a memorable annual meeting in London that set the stage to advance the European region. In the 1980s, trade began to flow among Europe, North and South America, and Japan due to deregulation of financial markets. The need for international tax expertise was never greater. Horwath and Horwath International met that need with widespread consultation and acclaimed tax manuals.
Our manual was very different. Our manual really dealt with the tax consequences of international transactions. It wasn't just a summary of the tax laws in the respective countries.
The Pacific Rim, with Hong Kong at the center, was a primary focus for Horwath and Horwath International. Tourism was rapidly growing. During the 80s, the family of firms expanded to include the Asia-Pacific Regional Organization. By 1989, the firm name was simplified to Horwath International. Werner Rotak became Horwath International's CEO in 1990 at the annual meeting in New York City. But just a few months later, a difficult challenge faced the firm, as Laventhal, the primary partner with Horwath at the time, went bankrupt.
Within a matter of a couple of weeks, we had some of the largest firms, the senior partners of those firms together, and there was not a question of whether or not we would continue. It was just, hey, how are we going to do it?
In 1991, Crowe Chiswick joined the network. It was a thriving Midwest accounting firm.
At that point, we were very much a network of independent firms. This then changed as part of our strategic planning in the mid-1990s, where we are trying to move from a network of independent firms to a proactive organization of integrated professional service firms. We saw various joint ventures, especially in Asia, between Hong Kong, Taiwan, and some of our Chinese firms. And that then brought the firms even closer together.
Annual meetings in the 1990s crossed the globe, from Greece to China, from Mexico and India, to even a stormy cruise on a Club Med yacht in the Mediterranean. Fortunately, the firm's strategy at the time was steering the course.
We wanted to double our worldwide fee volume. We wanted to be among the top international accounting organizations. And we were very lucky. We were pleased that already by 1999 we had reached those goals. But it's more than just a business. Okay, it is also the relationships that one develops with partners all over the world that have become very close and dear friends.
first decade of the new millennium, Horwath International grew dramatically, adapting to rapid changes in European markets. By 2005, there were over 100 member firms and nearly 20,000 people across the globe. In 2007, Werner Rotak retired at the annual meeting in South Africa, marking the end of a challenging and highly successful 17-year term with Horwath International. Frank Arford, formerly Chief Operating Officer of Crowe Chiswick with 35 years of deep experience there, became CEO. In 2008, member firms voted to approve a change in the firm's name to Crowe Horwath International.
I've often heard Werner say that the family of firm concept was very important, played a very important part in the past success of Horwath International, and that makes sense to me. And it also makes sense that will play an equally important part in the future success of Crowe Horwath International. And now is the time for us to step up and continue to build upon that foundation to become the premier international network that we always say we want to be. I know there's enormous economic opportunity for us, many international businesses that we can win as clients, but we're going to have to work together and each do our part, sort of fulfilling our responsibilities, our family responsibilities in a way, in order to win those clients. That's our challenge here over the next few years. We want to learn to serve our clients as if we are one global organization. If we can work together using common practice methods, remembering that we want a reputation of always delivering impeccable service, and serve those international clients as if we are a global organization, then we will be in level 4. We will be functioning as this fully integrated network of firms. So that's an important goal for us. I would describe our new strategic plan as being an update to our existing plan as well as a refocusing of our long-term strategy and our long-term direction. In addition to the important things we want to preserve, there are some new things that we're emphasizing in the new strategic plan. One is focusing on the top 20 key economic centers around the world and trying to make sure that we are represented by firms who are market leaders in those 20 key economic centers. So that helps us to build awareness of our network, awareness of our brand. Another area that we're going to emphasize is outlining the attributes of good member firms, kind of a way of expressing to our member firms what expectations we should all have of one another. We want to articulate more clearly the value proposition, as we call it, of Crowe Horwath International. How is it that we will deliver value consistently to our member firms? The fourth key area that's new in this plan is a regional focus on firms working together to identify new business clients, new international clients, and working together to pursue those clients and win business from them. The message I would like to leave with everyone really begins with this thought about family of firms and us being a family of firms. I think that's a very powerful idea. And to me, what's important is that it's really a blessing to be a member of such a big family. To have friends and colleagues all over the world is pretty exciting.
Are you enjoying your safari?
Oh, wonderful. They're looking for the lion pie.
We've come a long way over the last 50 years, but I'm very confident that the future is going to be even more exciting. And so I want to wish everybody all the best, good luck, and be nice to see where Horwath International will be 50 years from now.
Congratulations to all of you on the past 50 years of success that you all have achieved. And I just want to end by wishing you all much success in the future.